You're going to put it on the rocker for a little bit, or show how we do that. That's something that's great to have, but not necessary.
It's definitely good if you have more than one person using it at the same time.
Yeah.
Multiple doctor appointments.
Right, that's good. So now she's putting it on a tube rocker, just to gently keep the blood rocking back and forth, mixing with the ozone as she gets ready to do the procedure. If you're rocking it back and forth by yourself, you don't need to have this, and be doing at least 20 times where you're rocking it, so it's getting mixed well into the ozone. And so she was rocking it before, so that should be fine now. So now she's disconnecting and putting it, and what you want to make sure is that the lights are on, and so the UV light is on, and it's been on for 1 or 2 minutes or so, so it's heated up. And she's pushing, as she's pushing that in, you can actually use this one to slightly pull so that it can go a little bit less tension on it if you want to do that. So you can seesaw it with the other hand and bring it through. So as it's going through the ultraviolet light, it's getting UV treatment as well as mixing more with more ozone, because it's hitting the ozone that's in the other side of that. And we're going to do 6 passes. And again, you don't want to cram it through really fast, because there is that spinner in there, and the concern is it hitting that spinner really hard. You want it to just sort of wash around it and be washed around it, so that the spinner in there is allowing it to go to the inside of the glass cuvette and get more light exposure instead of just going straight through. But going straight through and mixing it too, so you could do it without the spinner in there as well. And the ozone machine, as you see, we have that running all the time. When it goes off and it starts, you want to restart it. Leaving the ozone machine on or leaving the oxygen running with the ozone machine off is just breaking up the oxygen, is diluting down the saline. So you don't want this running. It's better to shut it off, disconnect it, than just have it run with oxygen all the time, because you're actually diluting down the percentage of ozone because you're increasing the oxygen through it. So it's important that we watch the timers on these. We're doing it for 30 minutes. They say you only need to do 10. I'm always doing more just to be even more cautious about sterilization and everything else. So if it's been perked and it's been an hour or so, you just need to do 5-10 minutes to re-get the percentage up on there. I like these tachyon pieces to be, what it's supposed to be doing is breaking up water molecules, so we have them here. And that energy goes through, and so it's just something I started doing. Having the ozone close to this unit and being able to transfer to the next one is something we've sort of started doing because we use so much of it. As you can see, we counterbalance with a bag of saline, because if you just have this on an IV pole and somebody tips it, it can rock back and forth and this can fall. Okay, so now back to this. So now you can see that there's a lot of extra blood in there, and you want to get every bit of it out that you can. So she's going to disconnect here and then suck the rest of that into the syringe so we get all that we can. Okay. And then what she's going to do is use this clamp over the drain area, not hit the paper there if we can, and cap that over there, and then use the ozonated saline that's sterile to flush out this cuvette. So it's now all the clots or anything that could be in there. She's going to be examining it as she's doing it to make sure that this is all flushed out really well, so that there's no residue of any clots or anything in there. And this will only be used again for the same pet, no other pet. You can sometimes, if there's some little pits, there's There's stuff that you want to clean out the little end pieces because the blood can clot within there. And so you're cleaning those little pieces out as well to make sure there's no extra blood that could be worked in its way in there. So we're trying to utilize a sterile technique that is going to keep the cuvette clean, at the same time not have to have the owner buy a new cuvette each time, which helps keep their cost more reasonable. Okay. And of course that needle will be changed because it touched the blood of the other animal. Okay, so that's all set there. So with the machine, you want to make sure that you close this down, leaving the fan on to cool the bulbs. Because as the bulbs are heating, if we let it needs to be cooled a little bit because that'll keep the life of the bulb a lot longer. Okay, so back over here, she's trying to get off as much of the foam so we don't have to deal with a lot of the foam that's in there, but keeping as much as she can.